My name is Abigail Bloom, and I am from South Africa. I wish this presentation could be in person, but I'm still so glad I get to share my view of the world with you. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. I'm sure you've taken note of faulty traffic lights that aren't fixed for months on end, or experienced the frustration of sitting through traffic jams due to power failures. Then this bright solution might just spark your interest. It has been almost 150 years since the first gas-lit traffic lights were implemented. How have they changed over the last century, and are they technologically up to scratch for this day and age? At the beginning of 2019, I started taking notes of faulty traffic lights in my hometown, usually with multiple globes not working, or traffic lights that had been damaged by road accidents or vandalism. This got me wondering about how traffic lights work. After doing some research, I found that motorists have to report faults telephonically. This delays traffic technicians being made aware of problems, which can be extremely dangerous for road users, as it can cause traffic jams and even accidents, putting innocent lives at risk. After contacting the traffic department, I went around my hometown with a traffic light technician who showed me the inner workings of traffic lights. Amazingly, they ranged from the ancient ticker system to the new systems that still don't have smart technology. And by smart technology, I mean that there's no system in place that can detect and communicate faults autonomously. Also, they don't operate with 100% uptime or use renewable energy to lessen the pressure on power grids. Can my design make traffic lights smarter? Will they be able to work with 100% uptime, and will this lower pressure on power grids? This project aimed to solve this by engineering a fault detection system that can detect and communicate faults instantly to traffic light technicians, and a renewable energy system that can ensure traffic lights work with 100% uptime. So how did I get to this point? I started small. This was the first time I was being introduced to many new principles, and knowing myself, I took it as a challenge and began an amazing journey into the world of coding and engineering. With my breadboard, some LEDs, and the internet, I took my first coding steps by programming an LED to flicker. Soon after that, I quickly discovered how to make LEDs turn on and off at my command, and coded my first traffic light sequence. Coming up with my design for the hybrid solar PV and wind energy system took a lot of research, and I had no idea where to begin. So I turned to an engineering company for some guidance, and they assisted me by teaching me the different air pressure principles, and I applied Bernoulli's principle to my first wind turbine design. But I wasn't happy. My engineering goals hadn't been met, so I decided to continue my research and made a second prototype. Moving on to the second prototype, I went big. I knew what my goals were, and I was determined to reach them. When I started coding again, I had to find a way to get the microcontroller to detect and send a message when there was a fault. But how could I do this? My best idea was to use an alarm system, as my coding skills weren't that top-notch yet, and an alarm system has a messaging ability. I made a working traffic light intersection model, equipped with sensors to determine if there was a fault. Once a fault was detected, a warning would be sent by the microcontroller to the alarm system. This in turn would send a message to the traffic light technician's cell phone, notifying them of the fault. I used a voltmeter to detect if the LED array was no longer working. It was connected to an ohm resistor and a countdown timer. If the LEDs weren't working for the predetermined amounts of time, the system would pick this up as a fault. To determine if the traffic light had been damaged due to a road accident, a shock sensor was placed into the upright pole of the traffic light, which was triggered if there was a change in an angle of 20 degrees. Inspired by ice cream. If you've ever gone on holiday, I'm sure you've seen those spinning ice cream signs. This was my inspiration for my new wind turbine design, as I noticed that once the signs got spinning, it was very difficult for them to stop. This would be perfect for generating electricity, along with a solar panel on top. The design was almost perfect. Although my engineering goals had been met, the system still had its flaws. There were many things I wanted to change and improve to make the system more reliable. So, with my final product and the changes I wanted to make in mind, I got going. How could I make my system more reliable? After researching deeper into the world of coding and discussing my ideas with my mentors, I decided to use a GSM modem and countdown timing software instead of the alarm system. Once a fault had been detected, the microcontroller would communicate this to the GSM modem, which would send a message to traffic light technicians notifying them of the specific fault. To detect if the LED array was faulty, I used an LDR to sense if light was coming from the LED. And instead of connecting it to a countdown timer, I used countdown timing software within the code. And just like before, if the LEDs weren't working for the predetermined amounts of time, the system would pick this up as a fault. To determine if the traffic light had been damaged due to a road accident, a tilt switch was placed in the upright pole of the traffic light, which is triggered if the traffic light falls over. Although my previous hybrid solar PV and wind system met my engineering goals, I found it had a dead spot when the wind hits it dead on. To solve this problem, I implemented a deeper curve onto the face of the blade. This allowed the wind to flow over the blade whilst it was in any position. To allow for increased electricity generation, an extra solar PV was added to the top of the wind turbine. Wow, what an amazing journey it has been. Prototype 3 met all my engineering goals. As you can see from the results, Wind Turbine 4, which was used in Prototype 3, performed the best as it produced the most volts. In fact, taking the average wind speed from my hometown into account, it produced a surplus of power generation every month of the year, if it was a true scale model. When comparing the old system to the new system, it is only partially capable of communicating faults within the traffic light system and does not work with 100% uptime, unlike the new system, which is capable in every area. After doing a full comparison of the different types of batteries, I found that the lithium-ion batteries are the most capable of running the system effectively. Looking at the feasibility of the system after a full cost analysis and implementing advertising on the face of the wind turbine, this system would be paid off within the 3 months and thereafter generate income for other city projects. In conclusion, this system is capable of detecting and communicating faults to traffic light technicians, therefore making roads safer as faults are communicated faster. The system also operates with 100% uptime by using the hybrid solar PV and wind energy system. I've learned so much from this project and I can't wait to continue learning more. Looking to the future, I would like to pair this fault detection system with Google Maps and create an application that can be used by road users to inform them about faulty traffic lights. I would also like to create a system where emergency service vehicles can be connected to the traffic lights by synchronizing them, so that they can have clear paths to and from emergency incidents. I'm so excited to take this project further. So with that, this is goodbye from South Africa. It was a pleasure presenting to you. If you would like to get in contact with me, pop me an email or visit my website to find out more about me.